I'm Malcolm Van Delst, and this is an excerpt from Do the Wrong Thing. This is actually a rewrite which I've recorded before. So this is a rewrite of something I've recorded before. Do the Wrong Thing is a book series or extra long novel that opens with a woman trying to kill herself. She says, "I don't know why I tried to do this," and by way of explanation tells her life story. We're about 2/3 through the series in about book 4. This excerpt follows two beats, one where Ava joins a housing protest and another where she goes back to school for advertising but quits, feeling alienated, out of place, and disgusted by the lack of ethical considerations. Reader, for what it's worth, I'm lost. I can't remember what happened, when. I'd like to blame the drinking, as if I suffered a 2-year-long blackout, but I know that depression also makes you forgetful and mind-muddled. I have to be poetic going forward, which is euphemistic for the fact that events are going to be out of order. Spring will come right after fall, then we'll go straight to summer, stuff like that. Growth isn't linear and sensible anyway. It's like we're cells, spheres, and as we grow, bits shoot out or one part of us becomes lopsided, anything but smooth. In my outline, I put this next bit 2 years from now, but when I Googled Public Enemy tours 1980s, they played Arbor in October of 1989, which means I'd already seen Spike Lee's movie Do the Wrong Thing, with Emily no less, and that Posey hadn't left for Berlin yet. 3.5 months. I had started working at the Pioneer, met Emily and become her friend, and at least tentatively started hanging out at Nerd and Doof. And I was already an anarchist. Spheres on a geodesic, multi-dimensional. We can't even see most of the dimensions. We are universes inside universes with side universes, below and above universes. And each one of these universes inside universes, inside universes. Oh, sorry. And each of these has universes inside universes, inside universes. There are sub-universes, different versions and relations of universes. Aborted ones that lived anyway, abominations and great civilizations, fantastical creations in more hues than all the creatures that live on Earth can see, in all the sound vibrations they can discern. In the face of this teeming life, writing and storytelling are weak. I wish I had more. From the moment Rosie Perez starts dancing awkwardly and do the right thing, I'm captivated. 1989, the number, another summer, sound of the funky drummer. Chuck D spits while Rosie changes from the plainest of red dresses to a blue leotard to a shiny silver boxing robe while the opening credits roll. It's not the story so much as the way it's told. Music, colors, rhythmic pacing, and cartoonish characters, sets, and scenarios. Radio Raheem walking through every shot with his massive boombox on his shoulder blaring, "Fight the power." Mookie making love to Tina with an ice cube. Sal's son lamenting that his friends sneer at him for serving niggers. The Korean corner store owners. Do the Right Thing opens my eyes to a whole new world. I didn't know that cops harassed Black people and threw them in jail for no reason all the time. I didn't know that despite the fact that radio stations wouldn't play Niggas with Attitude straight out of Compton, it went platinum. I'd barely heard of rap music. I buy Air Jordans. I find a store, though it's more like a tiny office in a low-rise walk-up near the Pioneer, where a chubby white guy in a baseball t-shirt sells cassettes of obscure rap bands with cheaply printed black and white insert covers. The real deal, I think. But the raps are slow and labored, so I go back to the bigger name acts like Niggas with Attitude, Public Enemy, and Boogie Down Productions. I can't get enough rap. I buy cassette after cassette at Hi-Fi. Do the Right Thing may have been the first movie Emily and I went to see together. That would have added to its impact. I fell so friend in love with her. Not to take away from the profound effect rap and dance culture would have on me and on the world, though for me those changes were still mainly a couple years away. Do the Right Thing made me want to be Black. I remembered the old man in New Orleans who told me I must have Black blood in me somewhere. I'd laughed it off at the time, but could it be? I had great-grandparents that grew up in orphanages. Oh, did I want to be Black? I wanted to suffer like Black people did so I'd have energetic stories to tell instead of my insipid, droopy ones. I wanted to have nothing to live for so I could scream and dance, nothing to protect, nothing to keep silent about. Music rattling around in me and coming out. But I wasn't Black. At least if I was, it wasn't much. So when Public Enemy came to town in October, I did the right thing and paid off my debts instead of spending $50 for 2 tickets. I'd have to take Posey's son because no one I knew would want to go, and thus I'd have to buy his ticket as well as mine. If they weren't playing in the East End, an out-of-the-way all-ages club, Emily might have gone, but she didn't like to travel that far and definitely didn't like the crime-ridden East End. To be honest, I was afraid of the area too. And the club. The Swans, a brutal noise band with song titles like Raping a Slave, had played there once. It may have been all ages, but it wasn't for kids. One of Public Enemy's members, Flava Flav, wore a big watch around his neck like a child's entertainer, and the group always performed with the S1Ws, a group of dancers that dressed in army fatigues. Professor Griff, the band's minister of information, dressed in fatigues too. Chuck D was the only normal-looking member. The band had a comic book, blockbuster movie quality that would appeal to a 12-year-old. This was Public Enemy's first headlining tour before they got super famous. Posey would love the band's Black Power lyrics. She'd have no problem letting Jero go with me. But I did the right thing and have regretted it ever since. There are 2 other rap concerts that I must have attended around then. I will soon become immersed in Nerd's nihilist culture with its punk and industrial tunage, and while my interest in rap could have happened concurrently, both Schoolie D and Ice-T played Arbor in 1989, around the time I was discovering Nerd. Most likely they came back again before I left Arbor in 1992, but since I have no recollection about anything around these concerts, aside from being with Emily, I'll assume I went to them before being subsumed by Nerd. There is one other rap concert I attended in Release with my old roommate, Neil. I don't know why he went. He wasn't into rap any more than Emily was. I bought the tickets way ahead of time because I thought it would sell out. I called the promoter and talked to a woman who could not believe what I was asking. You want to buy tickets now? On a credit card? I mean, it wasn't unusual to purchase things by phone, reciting your credit card details to someone back then, before the internet. But apparently for this concert it was. The woman agreed to sell me tickets, though, and instructed me to pick them up at the door when I arrived. It was quite a lineup. Ice Cube, just after he left Niggas with Attitude, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and 4 more I can't recall. Ice Cube was my reason for going. I loved America's Most Wanted. Anyway, Google tells me that that album came out in 1990, and that Ice Cube played Concord at the end of November that year. So he probably played Release around the same time with the 6-act lineup. That concert was cool. I was in and out of Nerd and its influence by then. Ah, yes. Damien had moved from Release to Arbor in 1990, so I've been prompted to reconnect with Release then. And I'll stop there. The rest is all the same as previous.